I'm Tiffany Hayes and Olivia Nelson-Ododa. Taking any questions? Brendan, go ahead.
Thank you for your time. Olivia, question for you. Can you explain how you found a rhythm getting into the game and making an impact the way you did? I know you had to deal with some foul trouble. All the bigs really had to, but what was it like getting in there and finding a groove against a really good host team with Della Don and the way Austin played?
I think it felt good in the game. My main mentality was just to come out, be aggressive, contribute as much as possible, contribute the things that my team needs. And so I think, that game was a gritty win. But at the end, we were able to all just really come together and pull it out in a good way.
What's it like trying to figure out when you're out there, whether it's AT or Brianna Jones playing in the post, trying to find your comfort level with where they are and spacing? I know Stephanie's talked about spacing a ton, but just trying to find where to be on the floor.
I mean, it's still a process. I think, in training camp, I really tried to soak in as much as I could just with a new system, a new team. And, that core group has really played together and they have really good chemistry. So I'm just trying to learn as much as possible, just in terms of, where I can go, where I can make an impact. The best place on the floor for me, the best place on the floor for them too. And just really try and figure that out. But it's a process. And I think it's coming together, but it takes time.
And then my last one for Olivia would be the one thing Stephanie pointed out post game on Sunday was adjustments to Shakira Austin, because she had a really nice game, 10 of 14 shooting. What are some things you guys are looking to throw at Austin and try to throw her off her game?
I think it's just coming out with that aggressive mentality and just not making people like that be able to get easy looks and easy buckets. Not only her, but just other post players on the team too, and really just trying to contain them and just make it as hard as possible for them to even get those type of looks.
Thank you. I've got another one, Alexandra, but I wanted to let someone else jump in if that's all right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Tiffany, hi. Thanks for your time. I just, sorry, I didn't mean to exclude you. I just wanted to make sure someone else.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Tiff, as far as how you're fitting in so far, we talked to Ty Harris this morning. Now that you've played 2 games against someone else in a different uniform at game speed, how do you feel through 2 games, how you fit in? I know it's going to take longer than 2 games, but where are you at in your headspace fitting in with this group?
I mean, I'm good. You said it. It's gonna take longer than 2 games. I mean, we just got together. It's a new group, new system, like O said. So it's just gonna take time, us getting to learn each other a little bit more. But at the moment, I'm good. Just gotta get going.
Of the vets, I hate to put you on the spot, but I figured I'd pick your brain. I know I have a feeling who someone could be, but who's been the vet you've been leaning on the most here so far this early season?
Who's your guess?
Well, DB.
Well, you're right. Go with your gut, man. You don't even have to ask the question. That's it. Yeah.
Well, what exactly has DB meant for you so far? These first, couple weeks, this whole month so far. I know you've played overseas together, but what has she meant to you here? Kind of getting you acclimated.
Just a lot, really. Like you said, we played together overseas, and she was definitely still that voice in my ear. If I was having a bad day or whatever, she was always there just to say the right thing. So even though we're both older, you always need, somebody always in your ear too. And she's just that person for me. So she's definitely been a big help since she's been here in this system already too. So yeah, she's been a real big help for me.
How's your hand?
My hand is great. I'm ready to go.
The wrist? Okay.
Yes.
And then my last one for you, as far as what Washington, what you from game 1 to game 2, looking at Washington again, it felt like you got a little more comfortable getting to the basket, and there was some more lanes for you to drive the basketball. What are you expecting from Washington to try and negate, and what do they do well to clog the paint to make it difficult to get attacks to the rim?
I mean, I expect them to make adjustments. It's just we got to make adjustments as well. So if they're clogging the paint, it's always drives and kicks available, drives and drops to the post player. So it's just about making the right reads.
Thank you very much.
So you get a question from your-
Hello.
Insider. I have a question for each of you, and then one if you're comfortable answering together. Olivia, I'll start with you. Year two, curious about what you feel, what are you noticing that's changed in your play, and what do you feel has changed in what you're feeling out there as you play?
I think going into year two, I definitely feel a little bit more comfortable. Even with it being a new team, a new system, new coach, everything. Something I've been trying to carry on is just making the right reads, being comfortable making, in-game adjustments and being able to go on the fly quicker. So that's something I'm always going to continue to work on and just try and improve. But I think the main thing I could just kind of see myself feel more or feel better about is just my comfortability. Just kind of, being used to certain players, like, oh, I played against them before. I saw what they did last year and kind of carrying that into this year too. So that's definitely something I noticed.
Thank you. Tiffany, for you, I was chatting with Coach earlier, and she called you one of the best drivers and paint stats this league has ever seen, and maybe the best player that this team in its history has never seen, from one coach. How does it make you feel? What does that say to you about the trust that coach has in you, and anything you're feeling?
Yeah. No, it makes me feel great. Just the fact that she just sees what I can bring to the team. I've been pretty much doing that my whole career. Quick first step, everyone says. So I'm happy to bring that here and help the team out, get into the basket at will and finding those open players, like I said, to the drops or out to the three, get a wide open shot. So that's what I'm here to do. That's good because I'm really good at it.
Thank you. And then more of a holistic question here. So with the league and women's basketball overall gaining greater awareness and coverage also comes greater scrutiny. What do you think the mental toll is on players as a result of that scrutiny, and how do you think players should respond?
Are you saying in terms of like seeing on social media, like?
Yeah, so things like social media, articles, media, any of that stuff.
I mean, I would say in this day and age, it's definitely more accessible for us athletes to see compared to back then. But I would say just with the mental aspect of it all, it's hard, for athletes nowadays to kind of see that type of stuff and kind of you're experiencing it in real time too. But I mean, as athletes, it's also our responsibility to kind of monitor, like, what we can look at and kind of what we allow ourselves to look at too. So it's just kind of like, I guess, a balance of both. But I would say it's definitely hard because it's just always in your face. Sometimes it feels like you can't escape it. You see it on TV, you see it on social media, whatever the case is. And so, I definitely think it is a little bit tougher with this like newer generation of having that type of media in our face. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's something we're just going to have to adjust to too.
All right, I'm gonna let players go.
Yay.
What's that?
And Stephanie White. You can start Stephanie and I'll take some questions.
Just another good opportunity for us on the road. Certainly with having played this team just a couple of days ago, fresh on our minds. We know that they're going to make adjustments. We're going to make adjustments as well. But really just think one of the great things about this league is how quickly we have to turn around and we can get on the floor again, and just looking forward to another opportunity for us to continue to grow, continue to get better.
Any questions?
Hey,
Good to talk to you
yes,
again today. Nice to meet you. I'll start with the adjustments that you just talked about. What adjustments are you expecting from the Mystics tonight, and whatever you're comfortable sharing, of course, What are you planning? How are you planning to counter those?
Well, I think that, there certainly are some areas that we had a weakness defensively that they could attempt to exploit in this game. So we wanted to shore those up, matchup wise and coverage wise, opportunities that we have that we can do some things that we didn't do in the last game. And I think defensively the same. I think defensively they're going to come out and adjust to a few of our sets, a few of our actions. So we have to look to see what can our counters be? What can our counters be to what was successful that we think they're going to adjust to? What other options do we have of new ways to be successful against their coverages? So, it's a chess match. It could happen. It might happen. It might not happen. But we want to be prepared for that.
Thank you. And then if I may, I want to ask the same question that I asked the players. I'll ask to you. With the greater awareness and coverage comes greater scrutiny. As a coach, how do you feel you can manage that, and what your response is when you deal with that kind of scrutiny?
The great thing about age is that you really learn to create boundaries. So for me, I'm not all that active on social media. And when I am, I'm really careful about who I let have access. And I don't watch a lot of TV. If it's not a ball game, or if it's not a streaming service that I cannot see ads, I'm not watching it. So, I think that's one of the good things about age, is that you really do learn how to create those boundaries. You really do learn how to keep a safe space mentally. We can't control what other people say and do and talk about. And, at the end of the day, we just put one foot in front of the other. And as players and coaches and teams and leagues try to be the best that we can be on the floor at our jobs, just like everybody else. We try to be the best that we can be for our families, just like everybody else. And we try to be the best human beings and citizens that we can be, just like everybody else. And we have an opportunity with a platform to make a different kind of impact. I'm proud of the women in this league that they continue to do that, and we continue to do that as a league. I think it's just one of those things that each year that these players get older, they're going to learn how to do that as well. Mm-hmm.
Sierra, do you have a question?
Yes. Hi, Coach. You spoke about defending without fouling. The Mystics are going to come out with more aggression today. What has been the stress to the players over the last, a quick turnaround, but just to go out there and get off to a strong start defensively and offensively without, fouling early?
I think just being disciplined, being a little bit more active, aware, anticipating a little bit more. We tend to, when we get in foul trouble, be a little bit more reactive instead of proactive in what the actions are, and defensively our positioning. A lot of things can be cleared up from a fouling standpoint if you just start in the right position, if you're just active and aware of what the actions might be happening. So just from our standpoint, the thing that is one of the greatest strengths of this team is defensive energy, intensity, toughness. We want to continue to do that and be a little bit more disciplined and keep teams off the foul line.
Thank you.
There you go.
Hey, are you taking Zooms?
Yes, that's you. Yeah.
Hey, Rib.
She said we're good.
Yep.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. Sorry. In keeping in that same sentiment in terms of foul trouble, you've had to go to Olivia pretty early in games because Breezy has gotten in foul trouble kind of early. What have you liked from what you've seen out of her just early on? She's doing a great job in terms of rebounding, but what do you like from what you've seen out of her early on?
I love her defensive presence, her defensive awareness. She uses her length. She uses the principles of verticality to defend without fouling. She's most of the time in the right spot and makes the right defensive rotation and defensive read. Her length creates problems, and her activity level is really good. Offensively, she's a smart player. She played in a system in college that had a lot of reads. She was a facilitator in that system. She understands what we're trying to get. She understands where she's supposed to be, and when she's in those certain situations on the floor, exactly what she's supposed to do. So, from day one, I've said about Liv is that there's just no substitute for experience. And for her, it's just every year, every day, every practice, just getting more and more experience at this level and going against players like Breezy every single day is going to continue to make her better.
Also, you know, this team didn't get up a lot of outside shots on Sunday. Is there a plan or strategy in which you want to see the team shoot a little bit more from the outside, from the perimeter, from the three in tonight's matchup?
No, I think we'll take what the defense gives us. You know, we haven't been shooting the ball particularly well. You know, I think a lot of that is just continuing to learn the flow of the system, where our looks are going to come from, being shot ready on a catch, because we've had opportunities and just haven't quite been ready for the shot. You know, making sure our spacing's good enough to create opportunities, that our driving lanes are tight enough that we draw secondary defenders. So, you know, I don't have a certain number of threes I want to take per game. No, we'll take what the defense gives us. I certainly want to continue to put pressure on the defense by attacking, getting opportunities at the foul line, attacking mismatches in the flow of our offense. I mean, those are more the things that I'm looking for each day as we progress.
Stephanie, what might be some adjustments specifically for Shakira Austin? Because I know you mentioned after the post game Sunday that you're going to take a look and see what you can do to adjust, and what might come to mind there.
We have to play principles and tendencies. You know, she is a hard driver to the rim. You know, we've got to do a good job of making sure that we're defending without fouling. We're playing her tendencies. We've got to make sure that we keep her off the offensive glass. We got to make sure that we have awareness to her activity level. I mean, she is so good moving without the basketball, and she cuts so hard and at such a great pace that if you relax for a second, she takes advantage of it. You know, this is a really good balanced offensive team in Washington, and we have to pick our poison. You know, we've got to make sure we don't let their shooters get hot. We've got to make sure we don't let Deladon go off. We've got to make sure we contain Cloud, and we've got to make sure that we make things difficult, you know, for Shakira Austin as well. But, you know, at the end of the day, for us, it's we've got to continue to execute tendencies at a high level to make sure that we really understand our player personnel, that we make every shot difficult, and that we finish plays with box outs.
Yeah.
And I know it's really early. It's 2 games. I know you talked to post game about AT's minutes, and you want to win every game, but any possibility as to how you might want to attack that? I put problem in air quotes. It's not really a problem, but I mean, you want how to manage minutes so early in the year?
Not yet. If I don't have any answers. You know, the great thing is that AT's in phenomenal shape, that she's used to playing heavy minutes. You know, for us as a staff, we've got to get a little bit more creative. You know, we've got 2 players on our bench that haven't had a lot of practice time with our group. So I think now when we get an opportunity to go back and get some more practice time and get them really accustomed to what we're trying to do, certainly give them some more minutes off the bench as well. And just, you know, working our way into finding rotations. You know, Beck and T got more minutes in the last game, and I thought that they really did a great job in those minutes, not just offensively, but defensively. And we're going to continue to look at, you know, not just rotations, you know, from a naked eye standpoint, but we're going to look at analytics. What's our most efficient offensive lineup? What's our most efficient defensive lineup? How can we get AT breaks around the timeouts? You know, who is that going to be? What is that going to look like? You know, it's still a work in progress. We're only, you know, 2 games in, limited practice time in that as well. So it certainly is an opportunity for us again today to see what we have, to utilize some different lineups and to continue to progress in that area.
And I've got one more. I know we've talked about this already, defending without fouling. Can you pinpoint what might be the problem for Breezy? Like, fouled out game 1, Aaliyah Boston was her matchup. Then you got Deladon. I know those are really 2 tough post matchups, but what's the advice to Breezy? Because she feels she's actually managed this problem well in previous years.
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
Ah!
Are you trying to get me in trouble here? Because there's a lot of things running through my mind right now. No, you know, I think that, you know, Breezy's a tough one. Like, post players in general and post play is really tough to officiate. It just is. You know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, I would never want to have their job. There's no doubt. But having said that, I do think that a more awareness overall team defensively better positioning team defensively can keep Breezy from being a half a step behind, or can help her when we have different kinds of matchups, or when switches happen in a game, or when a defender gets by, or an offensive player gets by a defender. You know, if we can shore up a couple of areas around her, you know, I think we can help her in those areas. You know, I think that she's a smart defender. She's a really good defender. They're going at her right away. So we've got to continue to be disciplined. She's got to continue to be disciplined on the defensive end of the floor. But I think she's going to work through it, and we're going to work through it for her and have her back.
That's all I got. I'm not gonna get in any more trouble.
We knew what you wanted to say, Coach.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Stephanie.